game is lame and absurd, but you spit. You need to sit back and observe a certified pimp. So oh yes he is. I mean that boy does the shit. He's a mess he is. Fresh to death. Ain't nobody fresh as he is. They can't compare or get next to him because he's so fly. I mean the boy's so clean. From his white tee on down to those jeans. You see the ice in the pinky.
All right. We are trying this again. For some reason, it didn't record. It recorded, but it didn't transmit to the stream. But anyway, it's your man's Ken Jackson. Is the Ken Jackson Experience. How's everybody tonight? This is another unscheduled rant and rave session because now I'm working with my new virtual backgrounds. I've actually had them before, but tonight I actually set up the green screen so that it would look better. Here, let me take these off because I am not taking any phone calls tonight. But anyway, tried to broadcast a little bit ago, and for some reason the stream didn't come through, and that's how technology is sometimes. Shit just don't work. But my name is Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience right here on Crazy Baby TV World. A lot of things going on in the world, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. What I do want to talk about is what would be the best way to describe it? Just plain English, dealing with issues in life. And it doesn't matter what the issue is. We all have issues to deal with, and we all have different ways of dealing with those issues. A lot of people that I know personally don't deal with their issues very well. And from what I've observed in my almost 60 short years is that most people live in their emotions, and they let their emotions drive their decisions. And that is a major mistake. You should never let your emotions drive your decisions in anything. One of the things that I learned early in life during my military career was that when faced with a problem, faced with a challenge, or whatever you want to call it, the only way to get to the other side of that in one piece was to work the problem. And that required throwing your emotions to the side, get out of your feelings, assess the situation, and then make decisions based on that assessment. Now, don't get me wrong. You may not make all of the right decisions at the right times, even with full assessment of the problem. Even if you got it all worked out and figured and you go to execute your plan to resolve the issue, it may not always come out the way that you expect. However, there will always be an end solution no matter what. But if you pull your emotions out of the equation, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a better outcome. and that's a guarantee. But we complicate our lives. Emotions are probably the number one complicator when it comes to problem solving. And it's not something that we're taught to deal with traditionally. Especially now, these kids now, this younger generation now has absolutely no coping skills whatsoever. Their first inclination now is straight to violence, or straight to self-destructive behavior whenever they're, faced with a challenge in life. I can remember when I was growing up, and I'll use, say, like childhood sports participation as an example. We had winners and we had losers. There was nothing in between. There was no praise for participating. Oh, you made it to the end, good for you. Well, at least you put in a good effort. Hooray. Nah, it was you won or you lost. And in that, though, we learned how to win or lose with honor and dignity, not with ridicule. Yeah, we got hazed if we lost, but it was healthy. It built our character. It made us strong mentally so that we could deal with issues, that may or may not have come up later in life. These kids now, they're taught, oh, you did great. At least you participated. Here's your trophy just for playing. And they grow up thinking that they should be rewarded, win or lose. They grow up thinking that they should get that pat on the back, for doing a poor job or making a poor effort, for losing. Listen, there is nothing wrong with losing, because if you don't lose, you don't learn how to win. Plain and simple. And sometimes, we have to lose a lot. But when you get that first win, oh my God, it feels so good. You know what I mean? It feels so good. And I can remember growing up, I wasn't big on sports, team sports, that is. I was into martial arts. And I really enjoyed it because if I won because of me. And if I lost because of me. I honestly didn't like team sports because if we lost, it may not have been because of me directly, Even though I was a great team player, I was always a great team player. I just didn't like losing losing with the team. You know what I mean? However, whether I won or lost, I learned early on that was a part of life. You win some, you lose some. You come back another day. You know what I mean? And you keep going. You can't win all the time. It's impossible. Nothing in life is going to go the way that you want it every time. But I will say life is perfect. Life is perfect if you allow it to life. Allow yourself to live. Get out there and face the world and understand that there's going to be some things that you just feel like you can't get past, but you can get past anything if you let yourself embrace the journey. You know what I mean? So I learned how to lose very young, and I learned how to take it. I learned how to get out of my emotions. Yeah, I cried sometimes. Yeah, I was sad. Yeah, it hurt. It hurt right here, right in the pit of my chest when I lost, or when I didn't achieve what I was trying to achieve. But it made me work harder the next time around. And I looked at the mistakes that I made previously, and I said, how can I do it next time without making those same mistakes? And I might have lost the next time around, but I never lost for the same thing twice. I made new mistakes. See, mistakes are good because mistakes help us to learn solutions. It helps us with problem solving. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. Nobody. And, so we just have to, keep on moving forward and doing the best we can to make sure that no matter what, it's going to be what it's going to be. And we have no control over the outcome, but we do have 100% control over how we respond to anything. You can't control what somebody else does or says, but you can control 100% how you respond or reply to those people. And the same is with any problem or challenge that you're faced with in life. Your response is the only thing that you have 100% control of. But in order to be able to fully utilize that power, you have to learn how to throw your emotions to the side, not let yourself get all bent out of shape and pulled out of character because things didn't go the way that you wanted it to go, or it's not happening fast enough for you. Or you, like, say, for instance, you got bills to pay. You may not have enough money to cover everything. But guess what? You have a strong brain, and you can think about the best way to handle it, the best way to allocate funds to each and every payment that needs to be made. You may not be able to pay it all at once, but you can think about which are priority and which ones need to be taken care of, most immediately. And then sometimes we got to make that hard decision and let something go. We may have to do without something for a while. But then you have to kick yourself into high gear and think about how you can bridge the gap, in that lack. If you're not making enough, what can you do to make more? But there's always a solution. There's always a solution to the problem as long as you work the problem, set your emotions aside, and not let yourself get discombobulated because you're falling apart, crying and hysterical or stressing about this, that, or the other. Just work the problem. Leave your emotions at the door, especially if you come around me, because I'm cold-blooded. Sometimes tactfulness is not the way to go. Sometimes you just got to be blunt about things. And if you don't have a thick skin, you're not going to make it in this world. Because this world, there is nothing about this world that says that life is supposed to be fair. We have to live it no matter how it comes at us. Take advice from others, pay attention to others and see how they're dealing with certain things. And you try, when you see things that work, you try to apply that to yourself. Things that don't work, you discard it. throw it away. It's useless. But most importantly, don't let your emotions be your deciding factor. Don't put any energy into being depressed or discouraged. Look at the problem. Take a step back so that you can see the whole picture, the big picture. And then start making small solutions to small parts of the problems, a little bit at a time if you have to. Because eventually you'll get to the other side. I don't know if any of this crap made sense to any of you. It makes sense to me. It's worked for me in my life. That's why I can live now stress-free. You know what I'm saying? I am totally stress-free. With all of the issues that I've had to deal with over the past few years, medical issues, I've been through financial issues, I've been through bad relationships and social issues with family, friends, and loved ones. But I always got past it, and I didn't let my emotions drive me. I worked every problem individually until solution. And I'm a better person for it. All right, I'm your man, Ken Jackson. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience. Just some random commentary today. 9 p.m. tomorrow night, Eastern time, that is. Right here, Crazy Baby TV World on YouTube. Check me out for our regular weekly show, which I think we're about to start going to either a morning show or a daily early evening show. Not quite figured on which one yet, but I'm working the problem. All right, if you haven't already, though, please subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you a dime. I don't have any products or merchandise to push out to you, so don't have to worry about me spamming you to buy this, that, or the other. Just want to talk sometimes, and who knows? We might talk about something that might be beneficial to you. But if you don't subscribe, you might miss out. So don't miss out. I'm your man's Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience. Until next time, peace and goodwill and all that good shit. All right, I'm out. Peace. Bye.